Survivor Game Changers premiered on March 8, 2017, as 20 quote Game Changers would duke it out for the title 34th Sole Survivor. At the marooning, Game Changer Sierra Dawn Thomas found the legacy advantage, which this season could be used essentially as an idol at the final 6 or final 13. On Nuku, Suri was scared that Ozzy would want revenge on her after blindsiding him in Micronesia, and this was indeed the case, despite Micronesia being nearly 10 years ago. On Mana, Tony, in his first team since winning Cagayan, went off looking for the idol, not even hiding the fact that he was doing so.
Hey, you guys do nice. I'm out. I'm looking for the idol. He's serious,
I bet
though.
he is.
Despite this appearing to be obvious Tony trolling, Sierra took this way too seriously and plotted with the tribe to take out Tony or his ally Caleb. However, the other big players such as Malcolm and Sandra got nervous that Sierra was already targeting the big threats, especially with their past Survivor resume. At the immunity challenge, Nuku came out on top, sending Mana the tribal. The tribe unanimously agreed that Sierra was playing too hard too fast, while Sierra decided to switch the target to the easy vote Michaela, as nobody on the cast knew who she was given she just got off of playing season 33. But when Michaela found out about this, she started to get PTSD from last season, with the tribe reconsidering their plans after she began to freak out. But in the end, Sierra couldn't take off that target she put on herself and was voted out first unanimously.
Sierra, the tribe has spoken.
After Tribal, the two winners and Tony and Sandra agreed they had to stay loyal to each other and formed an alliance with the other big threats on the tribe in Malcolm, Aubry, and Caleb. However, Tony later lost trust in Sandra after believing she was plotting against him with Troyzan. And after Mana once again lost, the two winners turned on each other and campaigned for the votes. But in the end, the Queen beat the eventual King, as Tony's overplaying caused him to get voted out in a 7-2 vote.
Sheep being led to the slaughter. Good job, Sandra.
That's what you get for plotting against me. Take your ass home.
Tony, the tribe has spoken.
After a WoW premiere, episode 2 starts off with a tribe swap, with the tribes going from 2 to 3. Brad, Caleb, Debbie, Haley, Sierra, and Tai form the new Mana tribe. Aubry, Jeff, JT, Malcolm, Michaela, and Sandra form the new Nuku tribe, while Andrea, Suri, Ozzy, Sarah, Troyzan, and Zeke form the Tuvua tribe, having to start from scratch. The 3 tribes were divided by their original tribes, which left Caleb and Haley on the outs of Mana, JT on the outs of Nuku, and Troyzan on the outs of Tuvua. Luckily for Troyzan, he found a clue to the idol that would be hitting at the next immunity challenge, and not only did he find it, but Tuvua would win immunity along with Nuku, sending Mana to tribal. With Caleb and Haley on the chopping block, the OG Nukus targeted Caleb to break up him and Tai, with Brad even telling Tai this would be best for his long-term game, but he was very much against voting out Caleb. But in the end, Tai reluctantly played with his head over his heart and joined up with the rest of the tribe, as Caleb was voted out unanimously.
Caleb, the tribe has spoken.
Episode 3 now of Survivor Game Changers, one of the wildest pre-merge episodes in Survivor history, as for the first time in Survivor, 2 tribes will be going to Tribal Council to vote one person out. The Tuvua tribe won immunity, sending Mana and Nuku to Tribal. With the numbers advantage, the Nukus targeted Sierra, as she was a big physical threat, but not an overall game threat, and thus, likely wouldn't have the idol be played on her. And speaking of the idol, the Manas knew the only way they could save themselves was by playing an idol correctly, with Tai luckily finding the idol just in time before Tribal. And at Tribal, JT told his former Nuku allies that they were indeed voting for Sierra, in hopes they would idol out Sandra. But yeah, safe to say, this plan failed miserably, as they would take out JT's closest ally instead, with Nuku realizing after Tribal that JT was the one to blame for this travesty.
They go after.
Malcolm. One vote, Malcolm.
You gotta be kidding me.
4th person voted out of Survivor Game Changers. Malcolm. That's 3, that's enough. Need to bring me your torch.
I'm gonna vomit.
Malcolm, the tribe has spoken.
After getting Malcolm sent home, JT tried to defend his actions after Tribal, but the tribe was having none of it, and thus, with no other choice, he looked for the idol, and would luckily find it. At the reward challenge, Debbie cost Mana the chance at earning food, and after Brad confronted her about it, she lashed out at him.
And the funniest thing to me, I had your back, man. I'm loyal. I was loyal to you completely, like utterly. And you crushed my heart! May the best man be left standing. Bring it on, Brad. Bring it on.
On Nuku, JT and Michaela got into a fight about the sugar, as JT accused Michaela of eating too much of it. In an attempt to keep the fighting going, Sandra ate the rest of Nuku's sugar, with JT once again accusing Michaela of eating it all. After Nuku lost immunity, the vote was obviously between JT and Michaela after the two's constant fighting. JT had Aubry on his side, while Sandra backed up Michaela, leaving Varner in the middle. In the end, Varner sided with Sandra and Michaela, and for some reason, JT didn't play his idol, possibly ending his Survivor career on a very bad note.
5th person voted out of Survivor Game Changers. JT.
Damn.
Tell Malcolm you sent him home, too.
I will. JT, the tribe has spoken.
Episode 5 starts with Tai finding the new idol for Mana just in time for a tribe swap, as the tribes went back from 3 to 2. Aubrey, Brad, Suri, Haley, Michaela, Sierra, and Troyzan form Mana 3.0, while Andrea, Jeff, Ozzy, Sandra, Sarah, Tai, and Zeke form Nuku 3.0. Debbie was sent to quote Exile Island, with Jeff Probst's wet dream of reward coming to fruition for Debbie.
Hope it's okay if I join you.
Cochran? Oh my god.
On Mana, Troyzan and Brad bonded being the only guys on the tribe, and Brad promised he would take him into his alliance with Sierra. On Nuku, Sandra and Jeff knew they were in trouble, given that they're the only OG Mana members on the tribe. Zeke told them that Tai was the target to keep them from scrambling, while Tai would look for another idol, and he would end up buying it, giving him 2 idols. After Mana went immunity, Sandra's 94-day run on Survivor looked all but done for, but luckily, she was able to see through the lines, and attempted to make the fake target and Tai the real target, as she got him to admit at Tribal that Ozzy was a big physical threat that needed to be taken out soon. But despite the good fight, and Tai now all of a sudden being seen as untrustworthy, the 5 OG Nukus simply couldn't pass up the opportunity to be the first ones to take out the Queen, and thus, for the first time ever, the Queen was indeed eliminated, going home in a 5-2 vote.
Sandra, for the first time in 94 days of Survivor, the tribe has spoken.
Don't do it, Jeff. Don't do it. Don't do it, Jeff. Good luck. The Queen.
After Mana lost the reward challenge, the tribe united as Brad broke down, gaining a newfound respect for his wife for making it to the end of Blood vs. Water. This prompted the other big threats of Suri and Aubrey to align with him, Sierra, and Troyzan, leaving Michaela and Haley on the outs. On Nuku, Jeff campaigned for an Ozzy blindside, as with the merge approaching, everyone knew how risky it would be to let him get to the individual portion of the game, and after Nuku lost, he continued to campaign, mainly to Zeke, as Zeke was the unofficial leader of the Nukus. But after getting a bad vibe from Zeke, a desperate Varner tried to turn the game around on him instead, leading to one of the most shocking and disgusting moments in Survivor history.
Why haven't you told anyone you're transgender?
That's personal.
It has nothing to do with the game.
That's personal. You didn't have to do that.
That is so wrong for you to bring that up.
It's a game for $1 million, and I clearly have made the wrong choice tonight. And my conscience is in pain. I feel horrible.
Well, I think I know the answer to this question, but there's no question who's going home tonight, right?
No, sure.
We don't need to vote. Just grab your torch.
It's okay, man. It's gonna be okay.
Garner, tribe spoke.
Episode 7 begins with the final 13 merging, with the dynamics all over the place after the multiple swaps and of course past relationships. However, Brad was really able to take over the merge, as he not only had the majority alliance on Mana 2.0, but he was also able to bring in Tai and Debbie into his alliance. At the first individual immunity challenge, Andrea would be the one to come out on top. The plan remained an easy split votes on Holly and Michaela. However, the question became who the target should be. Brad wanted Michaela gone, but the likes of Zeke and Suri, who knew they're on the outside of the majority alliance, campaigned to keep Michaela, knowing she would be a good number for them going forward. And in the end, their campaign worked, as Holly once again became the first member of the jury, going home in a 7-4-2 vote.
Haley, the tribe has spoken.
Episode 7 continues on with Suri and Michaela forming their alliance, and the two tried to form a new majority alliance to overthrow the Brad and Sierra duo that was running the game. At the reward challenge, the team of Zeke, Andrea, Debbie, Ozzy, Tai, and Troyzan won, winning a spa and hamburger lunch. At the reward, Zeke, who was sketched out by Suri and Andrea's hard gameplay so early into the merge, threw them under the bus, telling everyone about the majority they were trying to create. At the classic pole endurance challenge, Tai outlasted Ozzy, who had won this challenge twice, to win immunity. After the challenge, Zeke told Sierra about the plan to blindside Andrea and Suri, but Sierra would rat out Zeke, infuriating Suri and especially Andrea. However, with the alliance that was trying to overthrow Brad's alliance targeting each other, Brad's alliance, specifically Debbie, campaigned for Ozzy, wanting to blindside the legendary challenge beast before he went on a possible immunity run. And in the end, Sarah would join Brad's alliance, with Debbie even using her extra vote to take out Ozzy in a 7-4-1-1 vote. Man, Ozzy really should have ended his Survivor career after South Pacific.
Ozzy, tribe has spoken.
Good job, guys.
After leading the Ozzy blindside and not having the numbers, Debbie affirmed her alliance with Sarah, Brad, Troyzen, Sierra, and Tai. However, Sarah knew she was on the bottom of this alliance and talked to Zeke about the possibility of working with him going forward. At the reward challenge, Andrea, Aubry, Brad, Debbie, and Sierra won a picnic lunch, but that was overshadowed by Cirie having her balance beam moment, and Sarah finding an advantage at the sit-out bench, despite not staying out of the challenge, earning herself a steal vote. After Troyzen won immunity, the majority alliance decided to target Andrea for being seen as the most threatening player in the minority alliance. After Debbie told Aubry she didn't trust Sarah in order to gain trust, this completely backfired, as Aubry told Sarah about Debbie's comments, and thus, she became the target for the minority. In the end, in deja vu from Cagayan, Sarah found herself as a swing vote for this final 11 vote, but this time, she played like a cop instead of a criminal, making her first big move of the game, flipping on her alliance to take out Debbie in a 6-5 vote.
10th person voted out, the 3rd member of our jury. Debbie, need to bring me a torch. Debbie, the tribe has spoken.
Sarah admitted her flip to Brad after Tribal, with Brad's alliance realizing they were in trouble. At the reward challenge, Andrea, Aubry, Brad, Sarah, and Zeke won a trip to an island resort. At the reward, Zeke and Brad bonded, which sketched out Andrea, as she still didn't trust Zeke and was scared to see him potentially gain power. And after she won immunity, she officially put her Zeke plan into motion, campaigning to her alliance to take him out for being too much of a schemer. However, the new majority alliance was scared to eliminate one of their own and give the opposing side the numbers once again. At Tribal, Brad's alliance turned on each other as they thought they were in trouble, with Sierra getting 2 votes and Tai getting 3. However, the majority used their 5 votes to take out Zeke in a 5-3-2 plurality vote.
Zeke, the tribe has spoken.
After getting 3 votes from his alliance, Cirie recruited Tai to join the majority and break up Sierra and Brad. Sierra, knowing she was in trouble, showed Sarah her legacy advantage in an attempt to build trust. The final 9's loved ones then surprised the castaways, with them being split into 3 teams of 3. The trio of Andrea, Aubry, and Brad won a barbecue feast, and of course, got to spend the day with their loved ones. The trio also chose Cirie and Sarah and their loved ones to join them as well. At the immunity challenge, the target Brad won a huge immunity, but this put his ally Sierra on the chopping block. The minority alliance of Troyzen, Sierra, and Brad desperately tried to get Tai back on board, along with Michaela, to blindside Andrea. But Sarah would play this round beautifully, as she told the swing votes of Tai and Michaela that Sierra had the legacy advantage. However, when the two indeed stuck with the majority in fear of Sierra's advantage, Sarah acted like she didn't know what happened, and thus, Sierra gave Sarah her legacy advantage, despite Sarah being the one to orchestrate her blindside.
Sierra, the tribe has spoken.
Privilege, guys.
Episode 11 begins with the final 8 immunity challenge, which Aubry absolutely dominated, winning her first immunity. With Brad on the table, Aubry campaigned for him, but Andrea, who noticed Sarah's fake reaction at the last tribal, talked with Cirie about possibly taking her out. However, Cirie, who wanted to keep the shield of Sarah around, ratted out Andrea to her, and thus, Sarah put her sights on Andrea. And at tribal, Sarah rallied the majority alliance to side with Brad and Troyzen, blindsiding Andrea in a 6-2 vote.
Andrea, the tribe has spoken.
After being left out of the vote, Tai comforted Aubry, but his loving soul came at a cost, as Cirie realized just how much of a jury threat he could be. After Brad won immunity, we got one of the most confusing votes in Survivor history, as it looked to be a simple vote on Tai, even more so after he targeted Sarah. However, Sarah wanted Cirie to do her dirty work, and gave her extra vote to her. But at Tribal, Cirie learned that the advantage was non-transferable, and Michaela was voted out in a 4-2-1 vote?
14th person voted out, the 7th member of our jury. Michaela, need to bring me a torch? Michaela, the tribe has spoken.
The reason for this was after Sarah worked with Brad and Troyzen in the previous vote, the 3 made a final 3 deal, and this was her way to prove her loyalty to them by betraying Cirie. And the 3 of them used Sarah's extra vote to take out Cirie's closest ally in Michaela, as she was obviously a bigger immunity threat going forward. So after that chaotic vote, this hectic and confusing season has reached its finale, and it kicks off with Tai telling Brad about his 2 idols. But this sketched out Brad, and he tried to goat Tai into giving away his idols, so his alliance could blindside him. After Brad won immunity and reward, he brought Troy and Sarah along with him, where the 3 confirmed their final 3 alliance, and planned to split the votes on Tai and Aubry. Back at camp, Tai told Aubry about his 2 idols as well, and the 2 along with Cirie realized they had to counter the 3 on reward, targeting Sarah. But despite all the names being thrown out, none of them would go home, and Advantage Geddon would take out Cirie despite getting none of the votes.
Chef, I like to play for myself. And have another one, a red one, I would like to play for Aubry.
Hey, Jeff. I've got a secret advantage. This is only good for right now, and I don't need a souvenir, so there you go.
All right.
Jeff, I'm gonna get on the immunity train and give you that.
Sari, it doesn't matter what votes are in the urn, because the only person who can receive votes is you. Sari, I have to say, you've played every day of Survivor with grace. You are the 15th person voted out of this season. You become the 8th member of the jury. You need to grab your torch.
Sure.
Sari, you want to say it?
The tribe has spoken.
After all the craziness, the final 5 was a pretty straightforward vote, the first one since arguably the merge vote, as after Brad won immunity, the majority 3 agreed that Aubry was a bigger jury threat than Tai, and while Tai and Aubry campaigned for Sarah to flip on Troyzan, Sarah stayed strong to her alliance, sending Aubry to the jury in a 3-2 vote.
Aubry, the tribe has spoken.
Full experience.
It's the final immunity challenge now, and while little old guy Tai put up a good fight, nobody was stopping Brad this season, as he won his 5th individual immunity, tying the all-time record.
For the win! Culpepper wins his 5th individual immunity.
Tai once again did his best campaigning to Sarah to give him a shot at fire, but at Tribal, the final 3 alliance accomplished their mission, as Tai was unanimously voted out.
Tai, the tribe has spoken.
Thank you, Jeff. What a great season.
Thank you for coming back.
Appreciate it.
Sarah, Brad, and Troyzan now, the first ever final Tribal Council to feature the open format. Troyzan was essentially ignored, while Brad was criticized for his arrogance and being the minority all post-merge despite his immunity dominance. In the end, Sarah's incredible gameplay was simply too much to overlook, as she was crowned the winner of Survivor Game Changers, beating the runner-up Brad and second runner-up Troyzan in a 7-3-0 vote.
The winner of Survivor Game Changers, Sarah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this retrospective of Survivor Game Changers. Let me know what you thought of this season in the comments below, and be sure to check out my previous installments of the series as well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button, and until next time, have a good one, guys.